Hello and welcome back. This is a little video about the super cheap Minelef power supplies, the 30 volts and the 60 volt version. They're super cheap on Banggood and a lot of other sites as well. They do 300 watts, so they're very popular at a very low price. There's a few design errors in this design, so that there's a lot of ripple and there's a lot of noise, and this is exactly what I want to cover in this video, so you can fix the noise and the ripple issues. So I didn't plan to make a video when I did the modification and all the research, so I just took a lot of pictures. So this video is actually going to be a picture walkthrough. So this is my first time trying to do that, so let's see how that goes. First I tested the voltage readout of both of them, and I also tested the current readouts, and I found them to be quite accurate. There's only 100 millivolts of error, and the current output here is also super accurate to the last digit. And yeah, here it's really good and accurate, but there are trimmers inside, so you can easily trim this and make them super accurate if you want this to be accurate. And this is the output voltage at 5 amp, so that is really accurate. If I loaded 10 amps, the error you see here is actually a voltage drop in the wires and in the connectors, and so that is completely expected. But let's look at the noise, the switching noise, and not only the switching frequency, but also some self-resonant problems in the rectifier circuit, and lack of filter components, and a little bit of another problem that they have done. So if you look at the output here at half load, you will see a lot of high frequency noise. So this is a rectifier ringing. It's a common problem in switch mode power supplies. And it is its peak frequency content is 30 megahertz. So here you see 30 megahertz. So it's really high frequency and very high voltage. And if we zoom out a little bit, we can reveal that the switch frequency is 40 kilohertz, and so that is also the ripple that we have is we will see 40 kilohertz, and we will see 30 megahertz, the two peaks. Let's look inside. This is the 10 amp version. See, there's a few problems that we are going to go through. The ground wire here, the earth wire, is directly connected to the chassis at this point, and the mains wires just go like this. And another thing that I'm not particularly happy about is using the green wire as a mains input, but that is another thing for another video, I guess. These capacitors down here we're going to deal with. As you see, these inductors, they have windings very close to each other, and also all the windings couple to the ferrite. So this means at very high frequencies, like 30 megahertz, all these high frequencies just go straight through these inductors. They have a self-resonance point that is very low, and that is of course a problem. Because the high frequency ringing from the rectifier and the bridge, the driver, will go straight through the inductor and straight out. Also what they have done, let's see if we can zoom in here, is that the inductor path to the capacitors, they have taken the worst place possible where all this is the highest signal, and they have put capacitors to the chassis so that all this noise goes to the chassis. And also these switching components, they're also connected. They will also capacitive couple high frequency stuff to the chassis, and then it goes straight out without any filtering at all. This is of course a problem for conducted emissions. And again, all this is going straight out because there's no filters in the ground, only the current sense. But as you see, the black wire here goes straight out. There's no filter at all here. There's a little bit on the positive, but again, if you don't do anything on the return, it's the same as doing nothing at all, really. Some more pictures of different angles. And all this wire mess here is also a problem. I recommend shorting these wires in length and adding ferrites here as well. I will show a little bit how to clean up these wires and add the ferrites, and also add an inductor on the earth, the protective earth, so that high frequency stuff from the chassis is not gonna go out. And these two capacitors we're gonna move. And there's also two other capacitors. Let's see if they're visible here. Yeah, they're visible here. These two blue capacitors, they also cause a problem because they are actually short-circuiting all the noise directly. And I think I have a few better pictures on this. I did a lot of measurements also at higher frequencies. It is really not that good. Yeah, this is not even at full load, and we have a lot of noise. So this is why we need to do something about this. As you see here, it just covers the whole. Yeah, well, okay. So let's do something about it. So these two capacitors, you remove and you put them on the PCB, on the bottom of the PCB, under this capacitor. These capacitors don't really work at high frequencies, so in the megahertz range they will be inductive as well, so they don't really work. You want to put these capacitors under these. If you happen to have better capacitors like 100 nanofarad in 2020 size ceramic, that is super high current capabilities and low ESR, put a couple of these under these capacitors and you will have much better performance. But if this is all you have, just use these two. The bottom side of the PCB, you will see that these two capacitors here, they take the nasty stuff that is remained, that is conducted to the mains, and they're directly connected to the earth or to the chassis. So that means, or this actually short circuit half of the filter. So, and also these capacitors in the mains system, and this also drives the high frequency pulses on the half bridge to the transformator. These capacitors don't really work at higher frequencies. So a trick to avoid all the ringings from the primary side as well is to make these low impedance at higher frequencies. So take these two capacitors and move them and put them in parallel with the two main capacitors. I think I got a picture that shows what I've done. Yeah, this is the capacitors. Here we go. And also, this way you don't conduct anything back to the chassis. This is what we want to try and avoid as well. Okay, so here is the cleaned up version. See the mains input wires now goes far away from anything. They go through ferrite. Both of the wires go through this one. Then here's the on-off switch, and then again both the wires to the PCB go through this ferrite. Then the ground, the earth to the chassis is 100 micro Henry and 1 amp inductor. This will isolate all the high frequency from the chassis to your mains wire, and it will still protect you against any kind of high voltage, if there is a leak in high voltage or anything like that. These capacitors, they were moved here, and of course we want to have a capacitor to the chassis to our ground. This way our noise loop is closed. There is another one between these two transformators, but we want to have one here at the output to make our output silent as well. So this is a 10 nano 2 kilovolt capacitor, and I soldered this screw-on pad here. The output needs isolation for noise and ripple, so I put two coils on the positive and the negative. These are 10 micro 10 amp coils, and then I found out that really small capacitors, and a lot of them in parallel, tend to have a very, very low impedance at higher frequencies, and also it will give the high current ripple capability. So this is a good way to make this filter very, very low impedance at higher frequencies. This is about 3 centimeters long, the red and the black wire, and also note that the leads to the capacitors, they are all really, really short, so that high frequencies go straight to the capacitors, and this way it really works well. A little bit more pictures on this. Yeah, here you see that I have on the top, on the bottom, the capacitors. Maybe you could even fit in a few more. There's a little bit more distance here. The picture is tricking a little bit, so it looks like the mains input is kind of close, but this is a lot higher and this is a lot lower in reality, so there's plenty of safe distance. So you could maybe fit in a couple more capacitors. You could also put these two inductors so they're more up and this way, to give you more space. Yeah, here it's easy to see the earth inductor. And it is exactly the same problem in the 60 volt 5 amp version. I did exactly the same, but in this version you of course have much less current, so you can use output filter inductors with higher inductance and a little bit less amps. This way you can filter a little bit better. Here I used 22 micro 5 amp inductors, and again I used the same capacitors as the filter. And I did the same with the ferrites on the mains. And these capacitors are moved onto these. And another thing that I forgot to mention is the output capacitors, C5 and C6. Of course, it's not such a big problem in the 5 amp version, but you can imagine the 10 amp version, it's the same kind of capacitors they're using. These are not rated for this kind of ripple current. So I guess you shouldn't run this power supply at full load for more than a few minutes. I certainly will expect these capacitors to get hot. So, and also the ripple is of course influenced by the capability of these capacitors. So if you have better capacitors, I think you should maybe change or upgrade these two capacitors to a much higher ripple current capability type. It's not looking super beautiful, but come on, it's all about performance, isn't it? So, and nobody's gonna look inside this. When the lid is on, you can just forget about this the ugliness in this construction. You could maybe make a nice and sexy PCB and have it mounted in here and whatnot. But I just wanted this to be done as quickly as possible and start enjoying my power supplies. And then let's look a little bit on the ripple output. This is a 5 amp, so this is full load of the output, and we have 50 millivolt of peak, and it is about 33% of the time. So that pulse, this is actually the charge current pulse that goes through the inductor. And of course you have 15 amps of power going through the inductor, and it charges the capacitor with this kind of ripple current, and then your average output is 5 amps, right? So all the other time the current is going from the capacitors, and then this time current is going into the capacitors and also into the output, of course. So this is why you want to have capacitors with really high current capabilities and low internal resistance to get your ripple even further down. This ripple here, none of these improvements is going to help this. You need to change these two capacitors to get this value down. So that was it. Thank you for watching. Have fun.